Welcome to Overtime on Inferno, your weekly roundup of all the big stories in CSGO. Quicker than this year came to an end. A quick reminder to rate and review us at the end of the episode. It really helps us. I'm Logan. This is Aizyesque. Let's get into it. It's the last episode of the year.
Probably. I mean, you just never know. Like maybe we like in a drunken stupor like accidentally record a 3-hour episode on New Year's Eve. You just never know. It's been a wild season.
I feel like you're attacking someone, but I'm not sure who
Me.
you're attacking.
I'm attacking me.
You're attacking yourself? Okay.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do a drunk podcast, and I realized how terrible an idea that would be.
Oh, no, that would be such a bad idea, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people it would be fine. For me specifically, it'd be a terrible idea.
Yeah, very well, maybe. All right, we've got a lot to cover. Lot to cover.
So we missed last week because I was a little bit busy and was on a tight schedule, and you've been very busy and needed the sleep. So in typical NACS fashion, you overslept.
Yep. Didn't set my alarm. Overslept my podcast warning. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been there.
Yeah, and for true NA production on this episode, for those of you watching the video, you can see the fact that I am currently holding my microphone because I brought back a camera.
He's a pop star.
Bro, I brought back a camera with me from school. I brought back a mini tripod for the camera. I've got a capture card for it. I brought back 2 XLR cables and all the stuff I need for my desk. I didn't bring a stand for this. So we get to hold this. This is my punishment.
This is his excuse. He thinks he's a pop star and just wants to hold it like this and sing.
This thing is so heavy. This is like 2 pounds. Like, I don't know what that is in kilograms.
It's like 4.5 kilos.
Like, it's not that heavy, but it's like heavy enough that it's just like, really?
Yeah, it's heavy enough that holding it for an hour would be uncomfortable.
Yep. So let's do this. All right. Let's start with the weird thing that happened last week, which is just Henny tweeting
free agent.
Fair.
Keep it short and simple.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no more information you need. Everyone knows who Henny is. Everyone knows all about him. You just need to know he's available.
To be fair, I think the number one response on that tweet was, "Is Lucas a free agent now?"
Yeah. To which Lucas then tweeted like an hour later, "Free agent." Yeah, you could tell they're related.
Yeah, so they won't be on 00 Nation anymore.
Have you? There's a rumor going around about 00 Nation, with it being Cold Zero's new spot.
Yeah, I heard Cold Zero. The rest
they tried to sign Safe.
I heard. I saw that.
He's obviously not going there now. But they tried to get him. I think he turned.
I saw that. I think I also saw that they were trying to rope Malbs in there, but I'm not sure about that.
I think everyone's trying to sign Malbs. I think the problem with him is his buyout. But supposedly, Complexity. He's an option for Complexity. I would be. I heard he was an option for Evil Geniuses at some point. So I'd be surprised if that wasn't still true. And I don't know. Maybe Cloud9 are coming back. Maybe you can go there.
Yeah. All right. So we have no clue where Lucas and Henny are going to go. Absolutely zero.
Yeah.
There's like 3 Brazilian teams, and I don't think they're going back to I don't think they're going to MIBR. That would be kind of weird. They're not going to 00 Nation. They're not going to Godsent, and they're sure as hell not going to Furia. So
the problem with them is that Henny's obviously the good one.
Yes.
Like, you don't really want Lucas. You just kind of have to. You kind of like if you could split them apart and just have Henny, you'd be more than happy.
I mean, they did that on Furia for a while, and then Henny got upset.
Yeah, let's go with he got upset.
Well, yeah, we'll go with that. In the weirdest roster move so far, Fnatic released Golden, which I was.
Yeah,
I thought it happened months ago.
Yeah, I didn't even realize he was still. I'd honestly forgotten he existed.
He was coaching for their academy team.
Ah, well, there you go.
Yeah,
they'd forgotten he existed.
Basically, yeah. Let's wrap up our story from like March or April, where Astralis sells device to NIP for $1 million, and then Nock had to walk into the the coach's office at NIP and go, "What the hell? You're releasing me? You're cutting me for who?" And then threat goes
Device.
device,
Oh
and
yeah,
Knock
fair
goes,
enough.
"Well, fair enough." Knock has finally found a team.
Yeah, and now NIP might need him back, if rumors
So,
are to be believed.
all right, so we'll start on the Knock part, and then we'll move on to the device part. So Apex, the team formerly known, I believe this was where
It
was this where
wasn't.
Jacob was for a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah,
This is where
yeah.
Jacob was for a little bit, and it's got
Dennis.
Dennis Asilian. Um, this has got a bunch of like Scandinavian players that you may have heard of at one point in life. Um, they're retooling their roster. So Knock is now on that roster. I'm excited to see Knock on that roster.
Nork's really good, and I think this is a level below where he is.
I agree, but
I think he's better than this team, and I think he'll probably just like start slaying some kids.
I very much agree. I just in my head, I'd rather him be on a team than not on a team at all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think he's sort of realized that he needs to rebuild his reputation.
Yeah,
That for some reason, I mean, he was like arguably, certainly in my eyes, he was NIP's best player before he got cut. I don't really know why nobody has taken a gamble on him. I think he's good. I think he's like good enough to be a tier 1 AWPer. But he's been out of the game for long enough now that he needs to show that again.
you know, it's a team that needs a tier 1 opper.
G2. Well, not anymore, but
No, not anymore.
uh,
Astralis.
I mean,
Segue.
I actually would not. I tell you, I would not hate Nork on Australia. If he can speak Danish, which he probably can't, I would not hate that move at all. Like that's a fire move.
All right, let's talk about the clusterfuck that is Device's situation. And this has nothing to do. Just this is all over the place for a variety of reasons. Let's start the Device after Blast Winter. Were they in Blast Winter? I don't think they were.
I think they were.
in...
I think they shit the bed.
One moment, please.
I believe because Config had that like crazy start to life at Australis, and then just went completely off the boil after that.
Where the hell is? It's so difficult to find things, man.
I'm like a professional HLTV
I found it. We're good. Yeah. Oh yeah. They went up 7-8. Oh god.
Yeah.
They lost to G2 and then they lost to Astralis. Oh my. Okay. We'll move on from that. Okay. So after NIP shit the bed in Blast, we started getting rumors that Device wanted to move back to Astralis.
Yeah. So what I will say is I have heard that he is like he's not. I've heard he does have a thing that's keeping him out. It's not like they're like not playing him because he wants to leave. I've heard there is like a genuine reason he's not out. I mean, I don't feel comfortable sharing.
All right, let's do the context here. Device did not play in the second half of what was it? IEM Winter.
I think he missed 2 tournaments. Oh no, he missed like the playoffs of one and then missed.
Yeah, he missed playoffs of Winter, including the grand finals, and then he missed all of Blast. He was replaced by Fuzzy?
Yeah, Fozy.
Like
yeah.
The Opper from the NIP Academy team. Which, if we're counting, I believe that's 4 NIP Academy members that have now been on the main NIP roster.
Fozy, Linus, the other one. His name I can't remember.
ZTR.
ZTR. They've all got like really short names with no vowels. It's very old.
There is one more. I saw that someone stood in for someone on one event once.
Okay.
But that's like still a large amount of this team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was out for that. That's the
yeah. And I've heard he has a genuine reason he couldn't play. So I don't think he's faking it. I don't think it's like a case where he wants to leave and like they're sort of covering up for him. So he came out and rubbished the rumors about him moving back to Australia. Said like it's absolute nonsense. I don't want to leave. I'm happy here. Which, yeah, fair enough. I think he's probably telling the truth, and this is nonsense. Yeah. But how spicy would it be if he went back? There's so many storylines.
Yeah, there were a lot of so when we got this what was it early Monday morning, at least for me. I guess it was Monday midday for you guys. When we got this, it was a very much like he had broken up with his girlfriend. He didn't want to live in Sweden anymore. He wanted to go back to Denmark. All that shit. And he basically put out a post on his own and was like, "Yo, chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
Um, my mental health is not great right now, so y'all want to not."
Yeah.
And the world just didn't anymore, which is super nice of the world. Except we're talking about it now, so
yeah. But I think we've been
we've been
fair.
kind.
Yeah,
We've been fair.
I don't think he will leave NIP, but it'd be
Yeah,
hilarious in
I
a
I
sense that if he did.
I brought this up as a joke 2 days ago to one of our Valorant writers, my roommate, and he and I were just like, "There's no way, right?"
Yeah, I don't
There's
think
no
there
way.
is way, but it would be funny.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the more important moves now. Let's start with Rops. We
Yeah,
had heard G2 for a little while. Now we're hearing FaZe, like a very close, like a very assured FaZe.
yeah. It feels like he's been on phase. Like it feels like he's been destined for phase since the moment he was in like FPL.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like a
Like
FaZe player,
phase
unfortunately.
Rops just sounds right. It looks right. It sounds right. It feels like he's been on phase before.
Yeah.
It's like a you don't feel like an excitement. It's like a warmth. Like he's back. Oh wait, hang on. No, he actually hasn't played there before. But it just really feels like he has. I mean, this should turn FaZe into a top 8 team comfortably. Rops and Twists, it's pretty fucking good.
You literally have the two best aimers in the world. Like
I
raw
disagree,
aimers.
but
What, you can put Yukindar up there too?
I'd put Bit as the best aimer in the world. But
Okay, yeah, Bit's definitely there. You definitely have two out of the top
you
three.
you have two you have two of the like top 10.
Realistically, let's say even
Twist
their
is
top five.
insane.
After that point, there's a drop off. There's like a decent drop off after.
Probably. But I think talent wise in that in Rops, Twist, Brokey, you have a relatively young, extremely talented core three.
Yeah.
Now, the two issues I would potentially have with this team are: is Brokey good enough to be the AWPer of the best team in the world? And I think he might be.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
As a he's not going to be like a hard carry like a Zoe or Simple, but as a piece that fits around two of the best riflers in the world, possibly. I mean, I think a large part of the problem Mouse had with Rops is that the way they played didn't like exacerbated Akor's flaws rather than his strengths.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I don't think Akor does well in a more static role, whereas Brokey is more than happy to be patient. Like Brokey isn't. I don't think he's as explosive in the early parts of the round as a lot of other AWPers, but he's an extremely good clutcher. He's a bit like Skadoodle. And I think Brokey will fit with Rops' style a bit more because he's a bit more patient and more willing to go to the last 30 seconds of the round and wait.
That might actually be the best comparison for Brokey I've heard so far.
Yeah, he's like Skadoodle, but actually good.
Yeah, and not North American.
Skadoodle, but good more than 3 tournaments a year.
Yep.
Skadoodle was... I really liked Skadoodle as a player, but he was... you couldn't rely on him as such. The other issue you have with this team is Rain. And I'm outspoken as one of Rain's biggest critics anyway, but he has not been great for the last 12 months. He's not been great. And you have, as we've just mentioned, Rops and Brokey to close rounds out, and those two will close you out. Like they are two of the best closers you'll find. And you have Twist to bring, like, if you are down a man, like if you're like 4v5 and you're like, right, we need a pick, you have Twists. Like he's an absolute monster at that sort of thing. He turns like negative number situations into like even odds all the time. But you need to be able to open these rounds up, and Rain and Carrigan like you have to worry about the firepower of those two to get you into situations that you can win. But you have to have faith in Carrigan that he'll find the best way to use ROPS and twists, and that is something that like it's hard not to be excited by the prospect of ROPS and twists under Carrigan.
Mm-hmm. I'd like you to look at your Discord DMs very quickly.
Ooh,
this was retweeted by Hachi.
Ooh, okay. So it's from a Turkish site,
Turkish esports site,
Esportalik or Esportalik. I don't know how it's pronounced.
Yeah,
they believe Big are going to sign Favon from Sprout. Now, I don't know how legitimate this is.
I don't know how legit this is.
400 followers.
Well, but so it's an account with 400 followers, but this is the English version. If you go to their bio, they have the Turkish version there, which is 55,500, which is a little bit more legit.
I mean, I love this move immediately. I don't know who's replacing, but I love it.
We've been talking about this move for how long now?
Yeah. Favon is a monster. He's a fucking monster. He's so good. And like, dude, Big are like really boring at the moment. Like, I don't want to watch. I mean, they're always kind of boring, but like they're specifically boring right now because they don't actually win any games. They just sort of make every game like a 16-12. It's miserable. Favon is really good. If he's replacing, I would assume Keto. Okay, that would make the most sense to me, or either Keto or Gade. If they think the Gade,
I don't think they're replacing Gade this early.
No, that's what I think. So if he replaces Keto, I fucking love this move.
If they replace Gade, then that means Tabson has to go back in IGL again.
True. Yeah, I didn't think of it.
So they won't replace Gade right now.
Yeah, Keto's like the obvious one because I don't really know what he does.
Yeah, I feel that, man. I feel that.
I guess it could be Tizian. There's also that option. I think Favon is an absolute monster. I think he's so good. I really think him and Madden from FPX are like two of the most sort of like slept on superstars. Like I don't know where Madden. I don't know why nobody's trying to sign Madden. FPX are like
no one is trying to sign that entire FPX team. I'm pretty sure that FPX team is out of Counter-Strike. I'm pretty sure they officially pulled out.
Yeah, I think somebody's tried to sign Farley, but
if it wasn't Astralis, then I
think it was.
I think I owe somebody money.
I tell you what, if OG lose any players, because obviously there's rumors about Valde, there's rumors about Alexi B. They should just like dip into FPX. Like Madden is a fucking superstar. Like he's so good. I really like. I think somebody has to sign. I think I think because he was on FPX, people sort of didn't realize or don't realize quite how good Madden is. I think he's a potential like top 30 player in the world.
Yeah,
he's really good.
All right, are we ready? Oh, we have one more thing, and then we get to talk about North America because that's about 17 layers on itself.
Yeah.
Let's talk about G2. So G2 is bringing in Exitaz, supposedly.
Isn't it like Naps told us how to pronounce it. It's supposed to be like the word ecstasy in French, I believe is what he said.
Jack pronounces Exitaz a couple weeks ago.
Exitaz. Oh, I don't like that. I'm gonna call him something else. I don't like that. All right. It's too similar to Exitag, which is already a bad name.
XTQ with some Z's after it is supposed to coach G2, which in terms of the world, that's kind of called failing upwards. Not that it's really not leaving Vitality is not really failing, but like,
he got cut rather than bought out.
He got cut and then managed to get a better job.
Well, maybe he didn't get cut. Maybe this was like G2 actually tried to headhunt him. I don't know.
I don't know, but this is like the best of both. This is the best of all worlds for everyone in this except for Malik.
Yeah,
because Zonic gets a team to coach, right? Exitaz goes, who are you bringing in to coach? Zonic? Oh, okay, that's understandable because Zonic is literally like probably the only better coach than Exitaz in the world. And then Exitaz goes and gets a job that's better than Vitality. So where are we? Like, this is a win-win for everyone as far as I'm
Yeah,
seeing.
I think he's probably a really good coach. Everything you hear about him is positive, and I mean that obviously doesn't mean anything. Oh, it doesn't mean everything, but it's somewhat interesting and somewhat a
Yeah.
good sign. Everyone speaks highly of him. He seems to know his shit. It makes sense for GT to just go and get he's probably the best coach available, almost certainly the best coach available.
And he blinds everyone else.
Yeah, he's a human flashbang.
He is a human flashbang. And then G2 in addition are also in talks with Alexi B to come and IGL the team instead of Nexa.
Like if Alexi B can't in-game lead this team to success, I think it's time time people just admit I'm right. If you can't win events with Nico, Hunter, Munzi, look, man.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah. All right.
To me, that's how this. You talk about falling upwards.
Yeah.
That's what Alexi B's done. He had a couple of decent runs. He had a good period on Ents, fair enough, but I think it was largely overstated how good they were. Yep. And then his OG team have been consistently kind of rubbish.
Kind of. It's been bad.
They had periods where they were fine. Okay. They're a bit north-esque.
Every team has periods when they're fine.
Yeah, sure, but there was periods where they were getting to semis and losing them.
Yeah, so G2 roster looks like this theoretically, which is Hunter, Nico, Jax, Munzi, and Alexi B with Exitaz coaching. I hate to say it, but I love this roster.
What I will say is Alexi B, I think, often suffers in that he makes himself the fourth member of the team instead of the fifth. Something a lot of in-game leaders, people like Carrigan, MSL, what they don't have is any sort of ego. They will sacrifice themselves, sort of inside the server, as a player, they don't have ego. Whether they will sacrifice themselves to set up somebody else. Whereas it always felt to me when watching Alexi B's teams that he had a dedicated fifth player to do that role.
And to be fair,
7 on Ents, and
this team kind of has that.
In theory, I mean, on the CT side, you do have Jax, who I imagine is. I mean, Jax is a very selfless player anyway, but Jax would be the hard entry on the T side. So in a sense, but I mean, I think where Ents had Ariel as their entry fragger, and then they also had X7 as bitch player. What you can't when you have Munzi, Nico, Hunter, you can't make any of them you can't make player. So it has to be all right, yeah, you know what? I'll do it. So I will say that is a pretty big boon in that Alexi B doesn't have to be the fourth best player on this team, so he can make himself the bitch. And I mean, hopefully for them, that's the magic formula. Because I've always been critical of Alexi B for that, in that it always felt like he had somebody else doing the roles he didn't want to do, and now I don't think he has anywhere to hide.
All right. Let's talk about North America.
Yeah,
there's a lot here. All right, I think the easiest way to do this is run down the teams and what we think their roster is going to be.
Because it could still change.
Because it could still change, A, and B, I think I was saying this to someone the other day. We're going from 2 NA teams to 4, maybe 5.
Yeah, and they all look decent. I don't know where, we've been saying for ages, there's a lot of decent talent here, and I don't know how there's only 3 teams.
Yeah,
and it seems like people have trying to eke out 4 or 5 teams, which is good. I love it. I'm glad NA's actually getting some people who want to play in NA and people who want to invest in NA. It's so, I'm not American, as you can probably tell. But I'm probably a bigger supporter of NACS than anyone else outside of America, because I feel like people just sleep on how much talent there is, and I'm hoping this will show people how good some of these players are.
Yeah. All right. Let's start at the top. Let's start Liquid. Liquid's roster is still rumored to be Naf, Elige, Shocks, OC, and who's the last one? Nitro.
Yeah, it's interesting until you get to Shocks.
But
Like
Naf
no,
and
no.
Elige, and then it
I'm
stops
really
being
on board for NAF and NAF and Alicia OC is really fun.
super interesting.
Nitro is like, all right, fine, you're back, cool. I was never that high on Nitro anyway. And then Shocked, and it's like, but why?
You know
Why
what? Here's the thing: if the price for getting 5 NA teams is Shocks, I will happily pay that price right now.
Yeah, but why is it Shocks?
I don't know. This has been the rumor for like weeks and weeks and weeks. I don't want to spend a huge amount of time on this. I want to spend the time on the other 4 teams.
Yeah, so on to Choco Check.
Trust me, there will be party astronauts talking this because I do have ideas. Don't you?
Yeah, but I want Choco Check. Oh, we need to talk about that. That was fun.
All right, let's talk about the number 2 team in NA. So Extra Salt.
Yeah.
Which means we also have to talk about Complexity, because it looks like Complexity is in talks to sign the core of Extra Salt, which would be Fang, JT, and Floppy, and add Grim and Junior.
I love this team.
It's so much.
It's such a fun team. This is like America's answer to Godsend.
No, this is just America's answer to anyone. This is just
no. But what I mean is like, this is like Godsend. You have like an in-game leader, an experienced in-game leader, who I actually think is really underrated.
JT is really good.
His teams always have insane flash assist rate, which I think reflects really well on him as an in-game leader. Anyway, and then you just have like this 4 like crazy play. Like Junior is like incredibly aggressive. Like he wasn't on Furia because of the way they were set up. But since leaving, I thought he was quite passive before Furia, and then he went to Furia and was like, "This is like too passive for me." And now he's become like a really explosive player,
which is good. By the way, side
fun.
note, my Junior being called Senior by Sheikh Zula is my favorite storyline of the year.
Yeah,
we can continue.
And then you've got Grim, who, as we've seen now in flashes on Liquid, is ridiculously good, and I don't know why Liquid like misused him so badly. He's really fucking good.
I wish they kept Grim over Shocks, but that's a separate matter.
But then like I guess they wanted somebody who they could make do all the roles Elige and Naf don't want to do. You then have Fang as like a hard entry. Like I love players who like have a real like entry players who are really dedicated to entry fragging. It's like my favorite thing. Is what like that's why I love Jonji. I used to love Apex for that reason. I love Yekenda. Like they just run
no
at
fear.
People. Yeah, no fear. If somebody says you have to run through this Molotov and you have like a half a second before you die to try and headshot this guy on this angle, and he goes, "Yeah, I'll do it. Just flash for me." Like that. That's what I want. That's what I would want as an in-game leader. It's what I like. It's what I want to watch. And then you have and Floppy, who's like one of the most talented players in the entire region, who I think people forget, or like I think if he wasn't American, he'd be much higher rated, which sounds weird because there was a period where like American players were overrated, but now they're like often underrated. If he was European, I think he'd be really highly rated. He's like insane. He's
Floppy's really, really good.
Very, very good clutch player. And though his Twitter might not show it, he's a very intelligent player as well.
All right.
He tries his best to dispel those rumors, but this is such a fun team. Like it's just 4 of the best fraggers in the region, and then like an in-game leader who can't frag. That's why I said it's like Godsend. It's wild.
I love this team. All right. Evil Geniuses. Rumors here are Cirque, Breezy staying in Counter-Strike. Is the last I heard here.
Yeah.
I have not heard any more 100 Thieves tryouts from the Valorant end of stuff.
And it seems like he's staying in CS.
It seems like he's staying in Counter-Strike. S2E 2K, Automatic,
blank.
I
hate this team. I'm going to say that right now.
I hate this team too.
I don't like it. It seems bad. But not bad. S2E 2K
if Stewie
is a good in-game leader. I'll say that.
If he's able to Stewie, then I think this team will be better than if he's not able to Stewie.
I don't know what that means, but
if he's able to flash himself through smokes, if he's able to do stupidly aggressive plays, the stuff that he was known for, right? if he's able to do that and consistently continue to do that, this team will be a better team than we all think it will be. If he's able to, you can't push him into a role.
I'm glad he's the in-game leader because I think NA has such a problem with finding good in-game leaders and finding in-game leaders that are individually good enough. And S2E14 is individually good enough. He is a talented player. He's a little bit frustrating to watch sometimes because he is talented and sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he either sacrifices himself or he just I don't know. He does some strange things sometimes, but generally he's actually quite with it and quite intelligent. And I'm glad he's in-game leading because you won't find a more experienced in-game leader in this region who is also as good as he is as a player. So I'm glad to see he's in-game leading. I'm not sure on Automatic. I've never been that keen on him. I know Americans think he's amazing. I don't think he's that great. Breezy, if you can find the old Breezy, unbelievable player. But we haven't seen the old Breezy for a while, and I don't really like Cirque. So I have a player and a half there that I'm happy with.
So there's actually, as we know, Evil Genius doesn't have an actual CSGO Twitter account, but there's the Evil Genius's CS Twitter account that's a fan run account. Then the past has not been totally wrong about some stuff.
Yeah.
So they posted yesterday 6 flags.
Yeah.
So they posted a French flag,
which is Malik, right?
Which is Malik. They posted the where's they're from? Bulgarian flag, 3 American flags, and then a white flag. I thought was the French flag, but I've been told is wrong.
Who told you that? They're wrong.
The white flag, which is just apparently, we don't know who the person is, but
so they basically told us nothing.
Yeah, other than Malik, which is kind of a cool move, which I don't absolutely hate, which might mean that this team is actually run correctly.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting, at least. I don't know how good Malik is as a coach. It's quite difficult to know. If they added Malbs as their 5th, I'd be more on board for this team. But that's That's pretty much true of every team.
That's a good point.
I'm not sure who else you even find. I guess Rush and Obo are available.
Correct. Which is okay. So Rush, Obo, and Stanislaw. I'm not saying
Stan just have Obo.
Well, I'm not saying Stan or Obo are going to this team, but Rush, Stanislaw, and Obo have not been talked about in any of the roster rumors so far.
Oh, I tell you who is available, who actually might be a decent counterweight for this team would be Marky.
Correct.
Because Extra Salt currently would only have Marky on their books.
So no, they'd have Marky and Sonic. Sonic is still on their books.
Yeah, he is.
Hold on, because it's time for NA conspiracy theory time.
Oh, Jesus.
I think the Extra Salt will keep the players that they currently have in Marky and Sonic and pull up either Triumph, Bad News Bears, or Party Astronauts players. I'm leaning towards Bad News Bears players.
The problem is all the good players. All the good players from those teams have gone somewhere else. That's the problem. I guess so there's Cynic who's available. B Wills is okay.
Swisher's good.
I'm not as high on Swisher, honestly.
Right. The Party Astronauts guys, there are plenty of good players there that are not 31 years old.
I haven't watched them enough to know.
There are good players on Party Astronauts.
All right.
I'm pretty sure who is it? Hold one moment while I Google.
Let's so I haven't watched enough Party Astronauts.
Cynic is playing on Party Astronauts right now, man.
Okay. That's why they're good. Okay, now I get it.
DJ and Infinite are both playing there.
Yeah, Infinite, am I right in saying, was the one who was linked with Cloud9 back in the day?
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
And then there was some controversy and so why he couldn't get called up. I can't remember what it was, but there was some controversy with him.
I don't know, but there's a lot of decently good NA players, and you have to remember we're talking about Extra Salt. I could see Extra Salt sign a bunch of these.
Yeah, they seem pretty invested in NACS at this point. I would rather they picked the best players from those and moved them up than signed one of the cores, because you already know how good these teams are. Like you're not suddenly going to make them better.
No, I agree. They should pick and choose from those 3 teams, but I think that Extra Salt is in a really good place that they're able to take these like North American teams. We saw it with the current team, right, the XC9 team, that they're able to take these very good teams that are good within North America and turn them into teams that can compete a little bit on the international level, and they can at least sell their players off to make to better teams, right? Because we're seeing that right now. Complexity's coming calling for half your team, and Liquid's coming calling for another part of your team. So if they can continue to do that with an NA,
if there's more teams like if Complexity are coming back, if Cloud9 are coming back, then I wouldn't be surprised if there were more like the players who went to Valorant who switch back.
It's gonna start being the floppy school of transitioning for Valorant to Counter-Strike. Floppy did it, and everyone else follows. That's your gateway.
The one I really want to see come back is Curry. I think he's really good. I think Curry's really good, and like
I believe it, man. All right, and then a little bit more into insanity conspiracy theory time. We have Cloud9.
Yeah. Who like all the noises seem to be suggesting they're coming back, but there's only so many players.
I'm pretty sure Jack tweeted they weren't coming back, but also everything else other than Jack is they're coming back.
Yeah, but it's like I think they wanted to come back, and they've realized like how many teams want good NA teams now. Like, not sure there's enough players.
So, if Cloud9 was to come back, my thinking is it's going to be a roster around Obo Rush.
Yeah,
because we haven't heard their names floated around in roster stuff yet. And Obo and Rush are too good of players to not have their names be floated around in roster rumor stuff.
Yeah, but then like, who do you even have in game lead them? Like, I like Sheikh Zula, but
yeah,
he's not as good a player as the other in-game leaders that you've got in the region, like individually.
Okay, I'm going to say something, and I might be hated a large amount for this, but maybe this is the time where Cloud9 comes back with that international roster.
Yeah, I mean, possibly. But when they left CS, they said, when we come back, we want to do it with an NA roster. And I don't think they want to come back with an international roster. I really don't think that's what they want.
That's probably true. I mean, maybe Cloud9 signs like Marky and...
Yeah, I think Marky is a little bit
Marky's a very good player.
Because he's a good player.
Yeah.
But he's like now the only player left on his team. Like everyone else on his team is getting signed and he's the one who's not getting signed. It like feels bad because he's actually a pretty solid player. Like I think you kind of wish there were like 6 or 7 spots on complexity so you could fit him in. Like, but
yep.
Yeah, you have to. They've gone for Grim and Junior, which you can't actually be too annoyed that they go for Grim and Junior over you. But he's like really solid, and he's a bit of a glue player.
Yeah. All right. I think we're done with our NA conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
That's all that's happening in Counter-Strike for the rest of the year, though. Until partway through next year. We've got some listener mail that we've had sent in from the internet webs.
Yeah.
So let's start going through that.
Here's a roster move we didn't talk about actually.
Oh shit!
Is Safe to Furia.
Oh shit! Yeah, Safe to Furia.
Because somebody asked, and now that Safe is joining Furia, who's going to stop this team?
No one. Literally no one.
No one in NA.
No, definitely not. No.
Safe was already like 1v9 in NA. Like you had Serato and.
I don't know. I feel like Liquid and the new Complexity roster could hit at that, but
yeah, they could, but I don't think they will. Like, all right. As I Safe is crazy. He's really good at shutting down opposition AWPers as well. And my only problem with this move is like it's really obvious. It's kind of boring. It's like, oh yeah, no, of course you're going to sign Safe. Like obvious. They need an AWPer, so they just pick the best AWPer in the region and sign him. So yeah, fair enough.
There were literally 2 moves that could have been made. Oh, hold on here. I have a move in my head.
Oh, God.
Malbs to Pain Gaming.
But like the whole point of
Pain
doesn't
make sense in any way.
No,
it does not make any sort of sense.
Without Safe, it's like, who cares?
Yeah, but if you
I mean,
had
it would be a
Mal,
better, like, at least he'd have Viguzera. But I mean,
yeah,
they need an all-player. He should, like, I would be surprised if he wasn't like like in the conversation for 0-0 Nation at least.
yeah. God, he'd just waste his career there. All right, let's start with this. What is the best worst team you can make and the worst best team you can make? Genuinely don't even know what I've just asked, but if anyone can answer, it's you.
The best worst team you
I'm
can make.
gonna
I guess that
translate
would
this.
be like the team with the best players
Yeah,
that
the
wouldn't be
best,
very good.
like the
So
best
something like
bad team and the
Rops,
worst
Rops
good team.
Coldzera, JKS, Hampus, and then Device. So that's like everyone on that team just wants to lurk and just like
Yeah, I
hold
hate that.
angles. Like you'd never win it. You'd get like 2 T-side rounds every time because none of them want to go in first. Hampus is like the lurker on NIP. Device obviously is a pretty static AWPer. Rops is the lurker on pretty much every team he's ever been on. We all know about Coldzera. And then JKS is basically the same player as Rops, but a bit worse.
All right.
That's
And
a player who could go to EG, by the way. It's JKS. I forgot about him.
Ooh, I like that. Worst
The worst
good team you
best,
can make.
the worst best team.
I think
So
this
you'd
is the
need
worst, like the worst good team. So like number 30 on the.
FPX.
It's just FPX. Yeah.
It's like how do you get the worst players to be the best team? Which would be something like FPX, where you'd have like, well, you start with like Crystal, somebody who isn't a good player but is a good in-game leader, and then you just give him like X7. You would give him. Let me think. You need intelligent players.
I say keep Sticko.
Yeah, maybe you keep Sticko X7. Kind of like not great players.
Whatever the person leaving big is.
Yeah, yeah, that's not a bad show actually. Yeah, or even no, that's it. You give him Tabson as the star.
Okay.
Because Tabson is a great player, but he's like,
Yeah.
And then you would give him like you'd need like a hard entry. So somebody like Apex. Apex is a decent player, but like he's clearly not that great anymore. But as a hard entry, and you just give Crystal this team and go on then. What can you do? That's how you get they'd break into like the top 30 or something.
But like point. Barely. Yeah.
I think that's how you answer that question.
So the follow up to this is, and which team is AZ in?
Well, by definition, the first one, because that's basically what North were for a while. Was how can you get the most talent and make it the worst team possible? All right, so it's probably that one.
We have another question. We have a lot of questions, but we have another question that's going to have a long discussion. So let's do that one now. Do you think that big orgs in the scene will embrace the newly announced women's circuit the same way they did the We Play Academy League and start signing female teams? We didn't talk about this.
If there is enough female players, then yes. Like teams want to sign female teams. I think organizations want female teams. We've seen that in Valorant, as soon as there was a thriving women's scene, like Cloud9 immediately saw G2 sign. Like these orgs want female teams. There's just CS. It hasn't been financially viable. If this is financially viable and there is enough players, I think teams will sign them. Although what I will say is, teams like G2 and Cloud9 who already have Valorant rosters might just like enter the Valorant teams in the CS events.
So first of all, I want to talk about this because this is fucking awesome. I'm so happy that ESL did this. I think it's like quantitatively late because this is definitely like a reactive thing to Valorant's Game Changers.
Supposedly it's been in the works for a while. It's just been difficult to suggest and it's financially viable.
They definitely also suggested it with was it DreamHack Showdown it was called, which was some of my favorite events to watch in the last year or so.
They're pretty fun.
I really like them. But what I wanted to go through on this is Dignitas's Counter-Strike team, which is now their Valorant team, actually played both games for a couple months during the summer until they fully transitioned to Valorant about 3 months ago. So I wouldn't be surprised to see teams do that, especially if there is monetary reason to be in both. And I have a feeling that I know that at least like that Dignitas team, that not all those people they're not full time Counter Valorant players. Like Emily is a nurse. She does nurse stuff during the day and then comes and plays Valorant at night.
Nurse
I don't
stuff.
fucking know what nurses do, man. It's magic.
That explains a lot, honestly.
One of my very good friends is literally in school for nursing, and I couldn't tell you what she does. So, but like I feel like this might give the full-time status to a lot of those people, and with that they might be able to juggle the two games, which could be fun, because I'd really like to see like a single day matchup. One day you have a like best of 3 in the morning, CLG Red Dig in Valorant, and then later at night you got the same thing in Counter-Strike.
That would be pretty cool. They could do like a best of 3 where you could just pick like, so first map is Bind, second map is Mirage. Decide as like Apex Legends or something.
Oh my god!
Just do like a best of 3 of like different games.
Bro, it's Siege.
Yeah, it's Siege or something, or like Halo. Do Halo. That's out now. Rocket League is the third. Why not?
But yeah, I think, yes, I do think that big orgs will start signing teams, or that they'll move their teams over from other games. Right? G2
I think that's pretty likely.
G2 has the undisputed best women's team in the world right now. I'd be willing to say in Counter-Strike. Now they're a Valorant team now, but
yeah.
The team
I was gonna say I don't know Valorant enough. I feel like somebody would argue it.
It's Juliana, Petra, Zaz, Mimi. Like, it's a very good team. Like your argument is C9 White in Valorant. Which is
Petra's
also
a monster. I'm glad she's coming back. I hope she is coming back to CS. Yeah, she's a monster.
Well, like from the tweets that I saw, was like a lot of the Valorant pros going, "Oh shit, now I'm gonna have to go back and play Counter-Strike," but like in a good way. So I'm excited for this. This is just a full exciting thing.
It's pretty cool for the players at least, and
we get to watch it, which is just, as you and I both said, as I said, I love watching DreamHack showdowns. So like this is just more.
It was always interesting to me to watch. So one of the, I think it was DreamHack Rotterdam. They had what is now G2, their ex-set at the time, playing against the male teams. That was always interesting.
Yeah, and I think more of that will start to happen too.
Yeah, I think what it does is it gives a decent pathway, in theory, to the best women's teams to play at these events and actually, like, test themselves.
I think this does a lot of cool stuff. We don't need to talk about it more. If you don't go on Twitter and look about it though, it's a mess.
I think most of the reaction has been pretty positive. At least
I think most of the reaction was pretty positive until Sembler started tweeting this morning, and then things went haywire.
I'm not going to tell people what to think. No. I don't care.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about NA again for a minute. Which lineup are we most excited for? I think both of us are most excited for Complexity.
Yeah. that one's the most fun.
That's easy.
I've seen all of these Liquid players play together pretty much. Like, I don't care.
How many tournaments does Na'Vi need to win to solidify an era?
-1.
Yeah, I think
their era started about a tournament ago. So
I think they're there right now.
Yeah, they are. Like, they won a major without dropping a map, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I think they might. I've said this before. I think they might be the best team of all time.
I so wish we had a time machine so we could see Na'Vi right now against Astralis from 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I think Na'Vi. I think it'd be close, but I think Na'Vi might win. This team is just ridiculously stacked.
All right. Okay, this is not a question, but Source 2, Amaranth's rising career on esports, will Na'Vi win everything again next year? Etc.
I love this question. It makes no sense. What are you asking me? Source 2?
I've heard it's back in development. I've heard
I saw somebody. I don't know if it was like some just insane posting, but they were like, "Oh, the next Counter-Strike has this," and I'm like.
Oh, was it wall running?
No. It was literally like somebody go, "Oh yeah, no, the next Counter-Strike will probably have ray tracing." I'm like, "What are you talking about? It's just an insane thing to tweet, unless you know something." It's such a weird thing to. Oh yeah, the next Counter-Strike will have ray tracing. Who cares about ray tracing? obviously the big part of that is there's a new Counter-Strike, unless there isn't, in which case what you're tweeting is absolutely insane. It doesn't make any sense. It really confused me for a good half an hour, this tweet. I was just staring at it like, am I missing something? Have I missed like the announcement of a new Counter-Strike? I feel like that's something that would be on HLTV if nothing else.
So Source 2 rumors, what I've heard is they're back working on Source 2 again. I've heard it's like 3 or 4 people at Valve. But like every time this happens, this doesn't happen. So I don't know. All right, Amaranth's rising career in esports. I have no clue about any of this.
So that was because I tweeted something earlier. But it's like Jinx TV. They have in their bio that we're the leading 24/7 esports news outlet or something, and they were tweeting about.
Isn't that like your Twitter account?
That's what I thought. But they were tweeting. They tweeted something about Amaranth joining a OnlyFans competitor, and it's like this is not esports. I think that's what it's in reference to.
Okay. Will Navi win everything again next year? Yes. Until Complexity wins one event, and then Navi will go back and win the rest.
I mean, there has to be a point where they stop winning everything. I don't know when it is or who stops them. Probably G2. Like, the timeline has to be Munzi is the one to stop them. It's like it's like too perfect. It has to be like, Munzi defects from the Jedi, becomes Darth Vader.
All right.
Like Munzi is Darth Vader, or Simple is Darth Vader, and Munzi is like Luke Skywalker. Yeah. Simple is Anakin.
What team is most likely to pick a Fabin? Well, if only you had heard our podcast a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I'd say probably big. Would be my guess.
If it's not big, then he's not getting picked up.
Yeah, probably.
How many days will you be a spectator? And then a follow-up, join some org fast.
Yeah, I think this guy just thinks I'm easy.
Yep.
I'm not.
Who's going to win the Crocky Cup?
So I had to Google this. It's the Belgian Football Cup. Why? I'm going to go with Ghent.
Okay.
Ghent.
I have no clue. Okay. I wanted to leave this one for last, which is any New Year's resolutions for 2022.
Yeah, I'm trying to get swole. I started going to the gym like 3 or 4 months ago. So I'm trying to get big. That's my plan. Like, I'm already big, but like I want to get big instead of like big.
Nah, my plans are actually learn how to manage my money because I'm bad at it now.
See, the trick is to get more, and then you don't have to manage it.
Well, the second one is I'm graduating college in May. I'd really like a job.
well, yeah, that will help you manage your money.
Exactly.
Have some coming in.
I'm thinking that might be a good idea.
I'm thinking that's a good idea.
But that's it from us for the year of 2021. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at Aizyesque, at Logan Ramhap, and at ReadTLDR. We'll be back again sometime in January.
Yeah.
Last time I put a hard date on this, we didn't.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll be back sometime again.
I think the newsletter's back January the 6th, so maybe we'll try and be back for that.
That sounds right.
We'll try.
All right. See y'all.
Yeah.